but I'm so frustrated. Hello to my loneliness.
Hey guys, welcome back to another conversation with. I'm joined by Mimi, Isabella, Ceser. Please introduce yourself and what you do.
Hi, so I'm Mimi and, well, it's Mimi Isabella, but that's a bit of a mouthful, so call me Mimi. And I'm a rhythmic gymnast. I've competed for Great Britain and England for like 20 years now.
Really?
Yeah. And yeah, that's kind of my speciality. I've done 2 Commonwealth Games, 2 World Championships, and I was a reserve at the London Olympics in 2012.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought up that. So you're obviously in the Commonwealth Games and World Championships. How do you prepare yourself for those?
Do you know what? It's such a difficult situation, actually. My first World Championships, I can only remember it as the literal worst experience of my life.
Really? I wasn't expecting you to say that.
I was 16, so I was like really young. I'd never done a senior international competition. So in gymnastics, there's like different age groups, and as a senior, you'd be 16 and over.
Okay.
And I'd never stepped into such a big arena. I'd done internationals, but nothing crazy big.
Yeah.
So when I went to my first Worlds, there was like a catwalk to get onto the floor. It was on a podium. The arena was huge. It was in France. And I was just completely overwhelmed because no one had prepared me for that initial moment. And I wish someone did, because I think I would have had such a different experience. But I didn't have the greatest competition either, just because of everything that happened.
So you know when you say like prepare, what do you mean prepare you for?
Well, I think with gymnastics comes a lot of like sports psychology, nutrition, physiotherapy, hours of training, like a personal coach, and then like another coach that can kind of look at your routines and give a different opinion. Okay. It's always good to have different opinions from people because they see things differently through different eyes, and I just didn't have any of that when I was 16, like absolutely nothing, and I kind of just stepped out onto this big world stage and was expected to perform, and I just couldn't. I just didn't know how to be honest. Like I knew how to do my routines, but I didn't know how to like.
So why did they put you forward then?
They needed, for Worlds we normally send 3, well at the time it's changed a little bit now, but at the time they send 3 gymnasts to make a team, so they can get a team score. Yeah. So because I was the youngest senior, they just put me up as part of the team, which was an amazing achievement for me to qualify for it. But it was just such a overwhelming, like, kind of daunting experience. And I think that was really hard to start my senior career off. Yeah. But when I've been older, when I got older, I've kind of realised that there's so much that needs to go into competing at your best. And I don't even know if I ever really got there, or if I have even got there now. Okay. Because it's just, our sport is self-funded. So we don't get the support like other athletes that are fully funded.
I wouldn't even have thought it was self-funding. Yeah. It has its own, like obviously it's its own category, but when it's televised, the crowds are there, the comment, like I would never thought it was self-funding.
Yeah, so actually lots of people get confused between artistic gymnastics and rhythmic gymnastics. Okay. So I'm a rhythmic gymnast, but the artistic gymnastics is like on the bars and the beam and the floor. Okay. And the I don't do any of that. I used to when I was younger, but I moved over to rhythmic, which is like the pretty gymnastics with the ribbon and the hoop and all the handheld apparatus. So that actually is self-funded in British gymnastics, and we have to pay for everything. We have to pay for everything apart from the big competitions. So Worlds, Commonwealth and Olympics are completely funded, but the training to get to that isn't. So it's just a really hard road, and unless you're willing to invest in your gymnastics through getting a sports psychologist on your team, getting a nutritionist, getting all of these people, which obviously costs a lot of money, then you miss out on those opportunities. So
it's crazy, that is. Never would have thought.
It is really hard to kind of compete with the best in the world as well, because if you don't have that backing, and I mean my parents have funded me, and I started to work when I was 17, but up until 17 they funded me. They're my biggest believers. Like honestly, I would not be able to do it without my parents at all. But it was a lot for them because I'm not their only child as well. So it was a lot, but yeah, a lot goes into a preparation for a big competition, and to the point where we'll train like 9 hours a day, 6 days a week.
Well, I'm going to say, so what would your typical day be if you're training for a competition?
Yeah, so when I'm preparing for Commonwealth Games, it's probably the best way I can give you what it looks like. Yeah. We normally go for like camps, so I'd be away from home for like 2 months before the games, and it's literally 9 hours a day of training. So you wake up, you go to the gym 8:30 you start, don't finish till like maybe 1:30, and then you'll have like an hour or two break, and then you'll go back in the gym to kind of finish off those 4 or 5 hours of training.
So what do you do? Because I go to the gym. Used to go to the gym. And then what kills me, I get bored. Yeah. 2, I'm like, I don't even know what. Obviously, I know it's different for personal people because you're thinking, you know, what to pick out. But I'm guessing you had like a schedule to do this, to do that. But for that long.
Yeah, I know. I know, it's mind blowing, isn't it? Well, we do like a warm up, so it's like a really specific warm up that will be like an hour and a half long. And then ballet is like heavily an influence in our sport, so we would do probably an hour of ballet bar. Okay. Just to kind of condition your muscles and tone up and be able to like spin a million times. That's the dream. Yeah. And then so we have 4 routines as a senior. So we compete hoop, ball, ribbon and clubs. And it's all about numbers, like getting the numbers in, so that the more numbers that you do, the better that you can complete that routine. So we will aim for like 5 clean routines, and if it takes you 10 times to do 5 clean, then you do 10 routines. If it takes you 20 times, you do 20 routines. And then there's like lots of different components in a routine. For example, there's something called risks, which is where you throw the apparatus up and you try and do like 3 forward rolls, for example, underneath the hoop and then catch it. And there's lots of different variations of those, and they're like really tricky. So we aim to get maybe 10 out of 10 in a row. So it would be like 10 for 10. And if you at 9 and you drop the 10th one, you got to start again. So it's like quite hardcore training, and that's why it takes so long, I guess. And then there's conditioning at the end, which is just like strengthening. Some people choose to do that in their warm-up as well, so it just depends how you want to structure your training session, and obviously then it's 4 times over that routine process. So
that's obviously to do with it's going at competitions and world championships. So it's just like day-to-day training with your coaches. Like, what's that?
So usually 4 to 6 hours a day I would do. Like I said, because it's self-funded, I work as well. Yeah. So before I actually have created my own gymnastics company, which is really amazing, and it's given me an opportunity to kind of put my experiences into a place where someone can experience it much better. Yeah. So that's my passion. That's the reason why I've created my company. But before that, I was like working at Foot Asylum as a shop assistant. Yeah. And then I was at university, and then I was training 4 to 6 hours a week. So it's just a bit mad. Like my day probably goes from 6 a.m. to wake up. Sometimes I do a little bit of a mobility stretch, just because I'm actually getting a bit old now for a gymnast, and my bones hurt. Like everything hurts. If I don't train, it hurts. So I think I'll have to train forever. Like, really? Yeah. Because it's that's crazy, isn't it? Because if you don't, you'll probably Ceser. Exactly. I'll be like 50 years old when I'm 30, which is not cool.
That is not good at all, because your body obviously is conditioned to train a certain way. Yeah. That is mad, that is.
Yeah. And then I would get up, maybe do, after the mobility stuff, do some emails if I've got some emails, because admin is always something I have to catch up on. And then I'd go to work, and then I'd go to the gym straight away. Yeah. Sometimes I would do like double sessions, so I'd go in the morning to the gym, then go to work or uni, and then go back to the gym. So my days are pretty full on, but I probably wouldn't have it any other way now.
It's kind of probably mixing like business and pleasure as well, because you're still doing something that you love doing. Yeah. And as you said just a while ago, you doing your company to help other gymnasts have a better experience. Mm-hmm. So is that why you wanted to do it in the first place?
Yeah, do you know what? It's a really crazy thing, because I never really envisioned myself as having my own business or having my own thing. Yeah. It wasn't kind of a goal of mine, but then during COVID, obviously the whole world stopped. Yeah. The gyms were closed. I was pulling my hair out, and I was like, oh, what can I do? Maybe I'll put on a few free Zoom sessions, because everyone was doing it at the time, and I was like, I can do that, like, just to occupy myself as well, because I was training from home, but if I could train with other people, it would be a bit fun. So I put it on my Instagram, and literally like over 100 people signed up to the first one. And I was floored.
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my gosh, I've reached that many people on an Instagram post. Like, what happened? And then I was like, oh, there's something in this. So I've kind of just continued it from that moment. And now it's kind of just growing and growing and growing and becoming a better experience for everybody that's involved, really.
That's good. So going back to that World Championships, you're a 3-time medalist.
Yeah.
So, like, is there any perks or winning medals, having medals? Do you drop it in like, I'm a medalist, you know? Medalist, you know? Because that's what I'm doing. I'm like, you know, I'm a medalist.
No, honestly, no. I identify as a gymnast. So, like, if someone I didn't know asked me, like, what do you do? I always say, oh, I do rhythmic gymnastics. Like, that's kind of, I put my gymnastics foot forwards first. But I don't like talking about my achievements, really. Because although they are important, because that's what you kind of train for, that's what you want to achieve, I've got a lot more out of gymnastics than just medals. Like, to be honest with you, it's been a really rough ride a lot of the time, but it's kind of made me who I am. I champion it for, like, giving me all of the characteristics that I've got. So there's a lot more to sport than just the medals, but the medals are good. So
now it's adding bonus for the stress. So, like, with you, like, coaching, because one of my younger cousins, she used to do gymnastics, but she used to do it for her school, and then her school went on to, you know, tell her, like, there's different places out there. How did you get into gymnastics?
Yeah, good question. So I started as a tumble top, which is like a 18-month-old child that just ran around this gym a bit crazy. Went with my mum and just progressed into classes from there. Obviously really enjoyed it. Although, I must say, my coordination is awful. Like, as a baby, I literally couldn't work out how to crawl forwards. Like, I literally travelled backwards the whole time.
Oh, stop it.
I'm not joking. And my dad said, when I was like, oh, I want to do rhythmic gymnastics, he was like, are you sure? Because I was the girl in PE that couldn't catch a ball. Like, honestly, that was me.
Yeah.
But I went to, so from the tumble tops, going back to that, I went into artistic gymnastics classes.
Okay.
So the bars, the beam and the vault. And I was watching Beth Tweddle. Do you know Beth Tweddle, the GB gymnast? She was winning medals at Worlds. And I was like, oh, I want to be her. So I went up to my coach and I was like, oh, I want to be an international gymnast. Like, that's what I want to do. And she actually told me that I'd never be good enough. She's like, no, you'll never be good enough. That it's not for you. Like, choose something else, kind of thing.
And at what age was you?
I was 8 then. Yeah, she literally crushed my dreams. Like, I was so upset. I literally, like, went home crying and everything. So
that is crazy. Like, you see that at kind of like reality TV, like, you know, Dance Moms back in the day. When, you know, she's rude and cruel to the kids. Thinking, oh yeah, probably just for TV, but
no, it's a thing. Yeah.
No way.
So she told me I wasn't good enough, and then I was like, oh, okay. But I thought, I'll just carry on anyway because I love it. And resilience has kind of been.
Did she not say, well, you're not good enough, however, try this or do this? It was just straight, you're not good enough.
Yeah.
No.
Brutal.
For an 8-year-old as well, like, that is crazy. So, if that happened to, like, if that happened to myself or anyone else, they're probably like, well, you know what? She's obviously been doing it. She's telling me I'm not good enough. Let me try something else, but.
Yeah,
I guess you didn't take that as.
No, I mean, I was heartbroken. Like, I remember it was like quite upsetting, and I was just a bit.
Yeah.
But gymnastics was what I loved, so I just didn't want to stop really.
Yeah.
And I guess throughout my journey, I've kind of worked out that resilience is one of like my huge traits. I'm really good at just digging deep and just continuing no matter what anybody says. So I carried on, and it's probably about when I was 10 years old, for another 2 years, we went to a competition, and I was actually on the B team, which is like the worst team basically. Like they had an A team and a B team, and I was on the B team, so that was like the lower level junior. So she was probably trying to tell me something that still wasn't good enough. And then this girl came on the floor and she did a rhythmic gymnastics routine with the ribbon, and I don't even think I breathed throughout her whole performance because I was just like involved. And then I ran to my mum and was like, Mum, I want to do that instead. So then I switched over to rhythmic, and like I said to you, my coordination is so bad. I literally started as a recreational gymnast, like 1 hour a week, just total beginners. I'd throw the apparatus up in the air and I'd be like, where did it go? And it would have like landed behind me already. I literally didn't have a clue. It was so bad. But I just kind of worked hard and
went through it.
I wanted to achieve, so I just got better and better, and then got kind of talent spotted by the GB team, and they were like, oh, she needs to try for the squad, and it just went from there.
So how did you get scouted or spotted?
So actually at the time when I was competing as a junior gymnast, you were allowed to qualify, like you were allowed to go to the trials. You were allowed to, if you'd got through to British, you were allowed to sign up for a trial. So I did. I got through to British, and then I signed up for a trial, and then the first time I did it, I failed, sadly. So I didn't get on the squad, and then the second time I did it, I passed, and then I got on the squad. And then I was probably like 13 when I got on the squad, and been on the squad since then.
So how did you feel when you failed the first time, considering, I know this was in Rhythmic, but that coach saying you wasn't good enough, and then you trialled, you failed, did that obviously crush you even more when you thought, you know what?
I mean, I'm such an emotional person anyway. I literally cry at EastEnders.
Yeah, I'm the same. 100%. I'm the same.
I'm so emotional. Like I feel everything, and even when I was younger. So it crushed me. Like every kind of hit that I've taken in gymnastics has totally crushed me, to be honest. But I guess you don't get things if you don't work hard.
100%,
so it's just that thing, isn't it? Like, okay, I didn't get it this time, let's go again. I mean, if I had failed the second time round, I don't really know how I would have felt. But I just don't give up at things. That's kind of, again, one of my traits. I'm not really someone to say, right, that's it, I'm doing, like, throw the towel in. I just want to achieve something in that area, and then I can be like, right, I did this, now I can walk away.
I think it's something to prove to yourself as well. Like, there's obviously, you want to prove something to other people, and if they're putting you down, and it's like, okay, let me try something else. But if you're really passionate and want to do something, you'll find that inner drive and inner strength to go on and do it. Because look, full circle, Commonwealth Games, World Championships, medals. She don't want to say us, medals, 3. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, if you had stopped when you was 8, never would have got there. If you stopped in the first failure, do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's a long road, and as I said, it builds that strength and confidence to do more. So you know when you said there was 3 of you in a team, what do you do? Because I know, like, I've seen singular. But do you work together?
So no, actually, there is something that is group gymnastics and rhythmic gymnastics, and that's when 5 gymnasts are on the floor. But it's a different competition. It's like a different category.
Okay.
I have tried group gymnastics. I'm okay at it. I just prefer to be by myself on the floor, to be honest. But as a team, what they do is we all compete 4 routines singly, and then our scores get added together. So out of the 12 routines, 10 scores count, and they drop the 2 lowest. So it's just trying to kind of post your best score. So although you're working as a team, it's quite an individual thing, which I actually think is really interesting in our sport, and something that I hope will change in the future. Because it's just so competitive that even though you're a team, it doesn't really feel like...
Oh, so you'd be competing against each other. Okay.
So it's quite a difficult experience to be in, because obviously you want your teammates to do well, and you want them to post their best scores, but you want to do better than them because you're also competing in this individual competition, that you want to get to the all-around final, or you want to be the top scoring British girl. So it is like such a weird thing. You're working together but also against each other. And I think that I hope that will change in the future, that it is actually like you really want everyone to do well, and together you're gonna level up. Because during my experience of it, it wasn't that we were like together leveling up, it was like I'm against her and I need to beat her.
Oh, okay. Was you from the same camp, or was you from different?
So we were from different clubs around the country, but we all trained like in the same camp for Great Britain camp and England camp.
Yeah.
So we would train together at times, and don't get me wrong, we did get on. Like I have so many great friends in Rhythmic Gymnastics that will forever be my friends, and I've experienced some amazing things with them. But also it's that like competitive rivalry that. It's just a really weird thing in a friendship, do you know what I mean? Or in a teammate.
Yeah. That's crazy, because you wouldn't even think of it. So obviously you said, I read online one of your interviews you had, and you said about ageism.
Yeah.
Speak a bit more on why you think it, and do you think it will change? Or should it change? Like, should there be an age cap?
I don't think there should be an age cap. And I hope that it will change in the future. I'm not sure how quick that will come. There are some gymnasts on the world stage that are totally doing it for us oldies.
Yeah.
But I guess it's because gymnastics is quite a young person's sport.
Yeah.
It's very taxing on your body. There's only so much you can achieve, I guess. Like, obviously you can keep going and achieve, but once you've done it all, there's nothing really to gain.
Okay.
You can get better and better at it, but like, say if you've done Worlds, Commonwealth, Olympics, European Championships, all of those big competitions, once you've done it, and you've done it a few times, because over your career you will get that if you stay at the top, it's like, what's next?
Okay, yeah.
And of course, like I said, it's 9 hours a day in the gym, so it takes a lot for you to compete in this sport. So that's why it's kind of classed as a young person's sport. But on the flip side of that, I am 28 now.
Yeah.
Last year I was 27, obviously, and I was posting my best scores. I was posting my best gymnastics, because I kind of had a maturity to my performances, and I know what my strengths are, and I can really play on my strengths, and I know what I want to kind of do and say on the floor. Rhythmic gymnastics is very emotive, so you kind of tell your own story when you're on the floor, and I now know what I want to say, whereas when I was 16 I didn't have a clue.
Yeah. Like, would they tell you what to do?
Yeah, I was doing routines that someone else wanted me to do. You know? So now I'm doing like me, and it's the best feeling in the world to kind of go out there and just do you.
Yeah.
And be confident enough to do that, because I think in gymnastics again, that is kind of, your voice is kind of taken away from you a little bit, because there's people of power that kind of control whatever goes on, and you can't really break out of that because it singles you out. So I spoke about ageism because last year was the 2022 Commonwealth Games. Yeah. And it was in Birmingham. Yeah. And I was aiming to be on that team. I said to myself all along, if I don't make the team because I'm not good enough, I'm fine with that.
Was you training and still doing gymnastics up until there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm fine with that. Like, if I'm fourth, I can take it, because it's 3 in a team.
Yeah.
Because I can take it if I'm not good enough. But I'm going to give it a really good go.
Yeah.
So I did. I've literally threw everything into it, trained my butt off, and went to the qualifications. I'd already been told 4 years prior to that I would not be in a leotard on that team because of my age, and because they wanted me to kind of get a life, is what they've said to me.
4 years before the actual games?
Yeah. But there's a theme, isn't there? There's a theme. I don't listen to people, I just get on and do it.
You have to.
So I did. Yeah. And I was like, right, I'm just going to give it my best shot. Whatever happens, happens. So I did.
Yeah.
Actually ranked in the top 3.
You see.
Did they select me? No, they didn't. I didn't get selected. So it's a really long story.
Yeah.
But I ranked in the top 3, did all the qualifications, did everything they asked me to do, like absolutely everything, and I thought I'd done it.
Yeah.
Like, because
you've ranked in the top 3.
Yeah.
And there's 3 to a team.
Yeah. And then I signed into the team meeting where they tell you if you've made the team or not.
Yeah.
And this is so, like, sometimes I find it embarrassing when I say it, but I was away from home because I've moved, because my gym where I train in Birmingham was closed because it was the main place that the games were taking place. It was at Alexandra Stadium.
Okay, yeah.
So that closed to the public, so I had to go and find training somewhere else. So I was actually up in South Essex because they had a good gym and they had a really good club and I knew them, and I just decided to kind of live there for a few months to train. So I was away from my parents and I thought, I'll just record this meeting to say, like, on my phone, to be like, oh, well done, congratulations, you made the team. Because in my head there was no way I wasn't going to be on the team. Like, there was just no way. And then they said, oh, we know you're going to be really disappointed, but you've not made the team. You're the reserve. And I literally, my whole world just stopped. And I burst into tears. Like I said, an emotional person. And I just couldn't kind of work out why. And my coach was on the call as well. And she said, well, can you explain why? And they were like, well, the data just doesn't work out for you. That was their response, and we were like, but how? Like, how does the data not work? Like, I'm ranked 3rd. How does the data not work?
How do you go around that?
Not really even an answer.
Yeah.
I know, it was
How did they even get away with, like...
It was just
all that top people must be on the same wavelength, or do you know what I mean? Because that doesn't make any sense.
There's a few things that are, like, a bit... terrible.
Yeah.
There's a few things that are really terrible. Like, there was an injury written about that I didn't have.
So they're literally trying to put everything they can to say, obviously not, because obviously 4 years prior they said, nah, get a life, you're not doing it. So they've obviously tried to stick with that so hard. You've then obviously put a spanner in the works, ranked them, and thinking, oh, you know what, shit, what we're going to do now to actually not make her go in. Oh, let's lie and make up an injury, let's do this, let's do that. That's
what it feels like, and obviously there's so much more behind the scenes that happened, and it was awful. It was awful.
You don't hear about, like, the dark side. You don't really hear about, like,
no, but it really
the bad side of, like, sports and gymnastics, because, as you said, it's, as they kind of portray it as a young person's sport. If that's the case, though, how many bullying allegations, physical and emotional abuse allegations for young children, like boys and girls, it's scary. It's absolutely mad. And then how they're speaking to you as well. Like, I know it's not just gymnastics, you know, throughout sports and just anything in life, but that's just a bit... they must have kids as well.
Honestly, it was awful, and actually my only kind of saving grace in that period was, previous to the qualifications, I actually kind of knew where I stood with them, but I just knew that I was going to do it anyway, and I was going to try my hardest to make the team. So I auditioned for the presenting role at the Birmingham Games. Yeah. Got the job. But then I told them, I might be competing, and then I told them all my qualification results. They all knew my results, and they were like, it looks like you're not going to be a presenter. And then obviously they found out that I wasn't on the team, so I could present the competition. And it was just the weirdest experience ever, because obviously I really wanted to be on the floor. Yeah. But then I'd had this amazing opportunity to be on the mic in the arena. So I was like elated and so happy to be
still there.
There, and then progressing my career in a different direction. But then I was like unbelievably sad at the same time.
Yeah, you would,
like unbelievably, like heartbroken.
Yeah.
And so I was like pretending to be all lovely and elated and happy and then the cameras would turn off and I'd be like crying like this, like trying not to cry my makeup off, because obviously I was on camera the whole time, like in between sets, and it was just like, I can't even explain how tough and terrible the last like months of that Birmingham
especially in your hometown as well. You've already competed in the Scotland, like Glasgow Commonwealth.
Yeah.
So then compete in your hometown.
Yeah.
That would just be cherry.
And it was going to be my swan song. Like, I was bowing out then. Like, I was literally saying, thank you, Gymnastics, for everything. See you later.
And it's not like you didn't rank.
Exactly.
You did. If you didn't, then okay, you didn't. But you
can
did.
say exactly. And I think that is the thing that really it still hurts me. Like it hurts me to the core. Is that it wasn't sport that didn't choose me. It was other political issues or whatever. I can't even tell it. Like how bad the decision is. I can't even tell you what it is. Like I wish I knew because I think it would make me feel a little bit better. But I can't even tell you what it was.
Because you want that peace of mind as well. Like okay, it's that. Fair enough. I'll run with that. But you're not giving me a straight answer.
And
leaving me in limbo.
That's how I feel. I feel like my gymnastics chapter is still wide open because I've not had the opportunity to close the door.
Yeah, you want that self-closure.
So, don't ask me what's going on with my gymnastics career because I have no idea. I'm still training a little bit. I'm still keeping nice and fit. I think I'll forever do it for my whole life because I just live it.
Yeah.
Like it is where I'm the most happy, I guess. It's just where I can be free. But I have a desire to close the chapter up, but I just don't know where that is yet.
It's crazy, absolutely crazy. But obviously, I still touched on numerous gymnastics coming forward about bullying.
Yeah.
And child abuse, as in like physical and emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever witness anything? Was you a victim yourself or your friends?
Yeah.
Did you see any like?
I mean, it's almost like an unwritten rule. Like not a rule. That's the wrong word. It's unwritten culture. That's the right word. So 100% had it my whole career. Because I think, do you know what it is? Like if you stand for something, you've got to say it with chest.
Yeah, 100%.
You've got to stand up for it. If that's what you believe, you've got to just say it with chest and just embody it.
Yeah, you have to.
And that's what I did. So I guess it kind of went against me a little bit, but I wouldn't have it any other way because that's what I stand for. And that's what my company stands for now as well. It's like being a safe place where everyone feels like valued and everyone finds their unique strength and everyone has the best experience because gosh, it's not worth having a bad one.
It's definitely not.
So I did contribute and I have been through a lot of like emotional abuse mainly.
So what kind of things would they say or do, or what kind of things have you witnessed?
So many eating disorders. Because obviously in gymnastics you're in this leotard, you're exposed. You're exposed on the floor, and if you don't look good, everyone feels like it's okay for them to say that to you, I guess. Well, I'm saying if you don't look good, everyone looks good because we literally train like, I don't know, 20 hours a week at minimum, 30 hours and beyond maximum. So no one looks bad on the floor, do you know what I mean? Like no one, if you train that
you see them, you're just like, your feet, you look immaculate.
And your body can do incredible things that most people's bodies can't do. So it should never have been looked at like that, but I have literally been called fat day in, day out. Since I was 16 years old, fat, everything about you, like nothing, your routines are fine, you're just fat.
How did they even get away with this?
You can't eat that.
And they're saying it like in front of everyone.
Yeah, but that's the worst thing because you're totally embarrassed. Like, and because you feel that way, it's like you can't like react, like say anything. It's and when I said earlier that it's like they steal your voice, it genuinely feels like that. I actually couldn't even tell my parents. Like I couldn't come out of the gym. No. My parents only found out when I wrote to the White Review about a lot of the things that had gone on. I have diaries from when I was like 12 years old saying, "Dear diary, today she called me fat so I didn't eat my dinner. I literally starved myself, I didn't go to bed, but I'm starving." They're literally written down, and it's really sad because it makes me like, when I read them back, it does make me like sad because I'm like, gosh, the only way that I could get that out was by writing it down and closing the book.
Yeah.
But it still affected me like a lot. And I was told that I was rubbish. I was told that the judges didn't like me, that I wasn't what they were looking for, like constantly. So I was almost like, how I can explain it now is like a shell of a person.
Yeah.
I hated myself. I didn't think that I was good. I didn't feel worthy of winning. Even when I did win, it didn't feel fantastic because I didn't think I was good enough to win, or I think that maybe someone else messed up and that's why I won.
Yeah, so because they've always plant the seed of doubt.
Yeah, I never really fully got to enjoy a lot of what I've achieved. Now I can look, as I'm older, I can look back at it and go, wow, like the things that you've done, the comments that people have said to you, the good comments.
Yeah.
Gosh, like you made an impact with what you did, but I think it always has been tainted by the way that I've been treated.
Yeah. And
that's really sad. And that's what I'm trying to stop.
And that's crazy because I'm guessing, I'm using the word hobby loosely, that's obviously out of school, not like anything to do academically or like family and friends. But it's your passion, it's what you want to do. Yeah. So how did that affect you normal day-to-day life, school, family, friends?
Do you know, like, in terms of, I guess my school and my family and my friends were like my escape from that.
Okay, yeah.
Environment that makes
toxic.
Toxic environment. It was my escape, so I didn't really ever bring it out of the gym.
Okay.
And like I said, that's why I guess that's why I couldn't tell my parents. Like, I would sometimes come home from training and be crying my eyes out, and my mum would be like, you don't have to do this, like you can give up, like if this is how it makes you feel, let's stop now. But I wanted to be the British champion, I wanted to win gold at English championships, I wanted to do all of these things, so I didn't want to stop. So then I guess that kind of made me go, oh well, I can't really tell them, because if I tell them, they're gonna make me stop. And I want to do this. So it was kind of a bit of a vicious circle, because I there was no way out at the time. There was no way out, and I remember I couldn't even speak to my coach. I could not articulate to my coach what was wrong. So I remember one time I wrote her a letter. I literally trained, had an awful training session, passed her the letter and like ran out the door. And so she could try and address those things. But that never really happened. It never worked. But I just couldn't.
It didn't work in the sense of she didn't.
Yeah, she didn't address any of the things that I'd written about. Just a crazy toxic environment. But obviously, I loved the sport so much that I wanted to, not necessarily wanted to stay in that space, but I wanted to achieve what I'd set out to achieve. So I just enjoyed it.
And some people, like, with anything, like being like in a toxic environment, they try and change it within. So they feel like if I stay into this, if I stay doing this, I can change it somehow within. But I'm guessing with this.
Oh my goodness! I can't even tell you how much I want to change it. Like, and again, that's kind of why the company is what it is, and what I stand for is what it is. And the reason I wrote to the White Review as kind of someone at the top of the sport to stand up for everybody. And I get messages all the time on Instagram to say thank you so much for providing such a safe space. People talk to me about their experiences, and I love that. I love that I can be that person. I don't know if one person can change a whole organisation, but if one person can, I'd love to be that person. I've always wanted it to be different, and I'm not scared to be that person. But I think it also, because the organisation is so big, and because lots of the coaches and gymnasts also think, I can't say this because my gymnast is going to get impacted on. Everyone just kind of turns a blind eye and just.
But that's what you see with a lot of things. Everyone does turn a blind eye because, one, it could be scared. They could be scared. It could be fear, or they could just be. There's obviously some people that's like selfish reasons. Let me get here first, and then I'll talk after. Let me do my thing first. And then after, it's like sometimes the cause is bigger than that. But you sometimes don't see in that.
100%. I think the cause is way bigger than any medal or any accolade that I've ever had. 100% the cause is now everything I'm working towards. But do you know what? I always thought that there was strength in numbers, but then that White review came out and hundreds of gymnasts, like hundreds, there's like over 1,000 cases open at the moment from 2020. And I thought that would be enough numbers for them to make a really like systemic change. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. So then it even makes me doubt, like, whoa, what's going on? Like, how are these people still in power? How are these people still doing the same job? Why is there not a change? Like, what? Did everybody listen to... and you know, everything that I've been through, especially the physical shaming, body shaming, I will carry that with me forever. And not that I want to. It's just like my brother says it to me all the time. He says, oh, I'll put like a piece of clothing on, I'll be like, oh, look fat, hate it, gotta go. And he's like, what? He's like, why are you talking to yourself like that? That is like, that's not okay. Yeah. And he was like, and you don't even look fat, like what's going on? But because that's been literally drummed into me for years and years and years and years. And I know, like, I'm not silly. I know I'm not. I know that I train. I know that the clothes that I buy are my style and I love them. Yeah. I know all of that. But when I look in the mirror, I just can't see it. So I think that will forever be something that I have to work through.
And that's a shame. Yeah. That really is a shame. Like these people, the organisation, do better.
Yeah, do better.
Do better, because there's so many, as I said, like one of my younger cousins, she loves gymnastics, and hearing stories and reading online, I'm like, I've told her mum, and her mum's like, yeah, we've seen it and stuff, but she doesn't want to douse her fire. Yeah. Because it's one thing that she's passionate about, and she does enjoy. So it's like, continue, but as soon, and she said as soon as she sees something, she's gonna pull her out. But then it's like, as you said, how are you going to see it? You're not there all the time. And if she's not going to say anything because her voice is getting taken away,
I mean,
you don't know.
Coaches used to say to me, like, don't tell your mum. Don't you dare tell your mum. So already I was fearful about what, if I tell my mum, what's she going to do? Yeah. And like, it's
the fearmonger.
Yeah, it was. But I think that at times I just forget that there's humans behind the situations. Like even with last year, I think they forgot that I am actually just a human, and what they did to me was so wrong, and the way that they delivered it and the way that they have acted afterwards as well. I don't even know how they sleep at night, really.
I think it's just cowards as well. They're definitely cowards, because you can't go through life being like that to children who some don't even have their own voice yet. They don't know, what they want to accomplish, how they want to talk, how they want to be, and you're just shooting them down. Yeah. Like, and I think, as you said, how do you sleep at night?
Yeah, honestly, and I think, you know what it is? Because it happens everywhere. Yeah. It's not like it's just one place where it happens. You kind of, as a child, I just thought it was normal. Yeah. Because everybody else was going through it, or most people were going through it. So that's just gymnastics, where it's not at all, but it's become gymnastics. Yeah. So I just
do better organisation, do better. Do you know what I mean? But on a brighter note, obviously the Commonwealth, you said you was a presenter. Yeah. So how was that your first presenting gig?
No, I've done a few. So I used to present a gymnastics show. Okay. Called Gym Fusion. And I've done some commentary, like some sports commentary on rhythmic gymnastics. Yeah. On like really big competitions like World Cup events. Okay. So that's been really fun, and I loved getting interviewed, and I loved I was a Team England athlete ambassador for the Gold Coast Games in 2018. Okay. Yeah. And I got to do like a lot of media, and I was actually part of the bid team for Birmingham. Okay. So I was asking them to bring it to our city, and I was part of the logo launch for the Birmingham Games as well. So I was heavily involved in the games on the other side of just the gymnastics. And I just loved it. I always have loved like the media and just talking about sport, really.
Yeah.
So it was an honour to be a part of the games.
So has anything else come up or like any other presenting gigs?
So I've done a few more commentary World Cups, and I've been in touch with like other sports presenters like Jackie Oatley, I think it is, yeah. And she's given me tips and stuff. But it's so hard to kind of juggle so many pies. So I have my company, which is my biggest focus at the moment, to really create what it is I want to see in gymnastics. Because, like you said, kind of change it from within. If there's something that's happening that's positive and really good, then that's already a resource that they can use to then implement it within their organisation. So that's my main focus, get that up and running.
And when did you start?
So 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, 2020. And it was just classes really, but now it's turning into a hub.
Okay.
So I want it to be with the psychologists, with the nutritionists, with all of the people that are necessary to help you. And I want that to be in one place.
Yeah.
My place.
So how many young people do you have roughly?
So I am so lucky to have like people all over the world, and they just chip in.
Okay.
Because it's online still at the moment.
Okay.
And I do want it to be a physical base in Birmingham.
Yeah.
My lovely hometown. First, like for recreational gymnasts, that's my next goal. So the hub is the first goal. Second goal is a Birmingham-based place, and then who knows where else I'll be able to open those or branch out to.
Yeah.
So that's like my main goal. That's what I'm striving towards at the moment. And then I'm doing a little bit of the commentary on the side because I'd love to expand that more once that's done. And then I'm also working in schools, doing PE and doing athlete visits. So just telling them about my story. And I work with a company that teaches PE, so I go in and teach PE to the kids too, which is not always gymnastics. It could be like dodgeball or tennis, or we won't talk about my coordination. I just pretend I'm good at it with the kids now. Yeah. And then what else am I doing? Oh, so many things. And then like things like this are just amazing to kind of talk to people and expand the network as well. So I'm also training still. I would, secret out the bag, I would love to compete again, but I just wouldn't see myself competing for Great Britain or England. So I'm tapping into other places that I can go. Obviously I'm very lucky, I've got dual nationality or dual heritage, so my family are from the Seychelles, so I'm tapping into all of those platforms to see if there is an opportunity for me to really close that chapter, because I think it will forever be like a hole in the story, and I just need to fill that hole really. So yeah, I'm very busy, but I love it, and
Oh, that's fantastic. Like, literally, good luck with the hub.
Thanks.
Definitely rooting, stable building, get all your stuff in there, review, obviously, psychologists, your nutritions and all that stuff. Tell the people where they can find you. Obviously, all these will be in the description below. But tell them where they can find you.
Best place to find me is Instagram. Love a bit of Instagram. That's at Mimi, MIMI _MIC _ Ceser, which is CESAR. And then I'm on Facebook as well, if you still use Facebook.
And I don't even know if people use Facebook anymore.
I know. If you're
it's
older.
Still there.
If you're older. I don't use Facebook very much, but it's attached to my Instagram. So, and then I'm on TikTok as well, at Mimi Ceser.
I love a TikTok.
Oh, TikTok, you get like stuck on it for like 10 hours.
You get on a rabbit hole. I'm like, I'm supposed to be cooking. Oh God, I'm supposed to be cleaning. You just go through so much things, I tell ya. But yes, guys, this has been a conversation with the one and only 3 times medalist. I'm gonna say that. Mimi Isabella Ceser. Peace.
I like to be educated, but I'm so frustrated. Hello to my loneliness. I guess that ignorance is bliss.
In 2020, NSPCC launched a helpline to help those with child abuse through the sport of gymnastics to support athletes. If anything that we've spoken about today has triggered or you want to talk to someone, please contact them on the number that's in the description below.